the world look like if the majority of people in the world were living their purpose?
Oh, it'd be such a good time. No, I feel like it would be if everyone was living their purpose or feeling into it. I think it would be a very gentler, slower paced world that was filled with art and connection, and who knows what new technology and solutions we'd have because we were all living our best and highest self with shared tools that help us elevate to that level. It would be a pretty wonderful world.
Welcome to the Holomovement, Awaken Your Purpose podcast, where we interview incredible people that are living and breathing their purpose. And you can too. Hi, everybody. My name is Zenka Caro, and I'm founder of LightNet, and my passion and purpose is to make the impossible possible. I'm here today with Jill Robinson. She is the writer and journalist for the Holomovement. You may have seen her recently in Cascais. She has been with Emmanuel and Laura for 15 years, and she likes really dark coffee. And she's really pulling all the stories together, both in our co-edited anthology called Holomovement, embracing our collective purpose to unite humanity, and also our brand new magazine, which is called The Holomovement Effect. So we have Jill, especially here all the way from England. Welcome, Jill.
Oh, thank you for having me, Zenka. I'm really excited.
Yay. So I'm going to ask you the question we always ask. What have you found your purpose to be?
Well, I think I was saying earlier I would much prefer to write this down. I'm used to that. But my purpose is to tell the stories and capture the stories of just the good things in the world, the good work people are doing, the delightful treasures you find outside your window, like in Mother Nature, that just give you hope and inspiration just to be your best self and to take care of this planet. And so in this season of my life, that shows up as stories and anything written. That's where my medium tends to be, is the written word, but really just so people can find and connect each other through those stories and of what's possible.
Yeah, that's so important. They say that stories are what stick. It's the only thing people remember. I can put a ton of statistics in front of someone, but it's these stories that resonate around the campfire or in these books or these anthologies that really show us what's possible.
Absolutely. And I think it also what draws me to that sort of work, and I think what's necessary in a transformative movement or of any kind, is that feeling that the humanness of, you can get really in our head about, consciousness, and it can be very academic, and you kind of start heading up here in your mind. And I think what's so powerful about stories and artwork and visuals and that sort of, it kind of brings it down into your heart as well. And it feels like, oh yeah, I know that feeling of like, oh, this is getting me excited, or I totally resonate. Let's do something together. And I think it's a really necessary part of any important work that's being done, is that kind of heartfelt connection.
Yeah, you bring so much heart into everything, Jill. So, was there a moment in your life ever where you were just like, wow, I love writing. I want to do this. I want to be around books. Like, what happened for you? Do you remember?
I do. I have kept journals and diaries since I could first start writing, and they are funny. They're what was bothering me back when I was 6 and 7 is I treasure those those simpler times. My mom was a very good writer, and she was home with 4 kids, and she never went and used it in like a profession. But I remember her really nurturing that in me. And I just remember one day she's like, you don't have to start every story with once upon a time. And like, she'd always read my work, and I just have always loved the act of writing, of putting pen to paper. And I think I'm not as comfortable vocalizing a lot of my thoughts at first. When you get to know me, maybe I'm sure people are like, yeah, you are. But it was always a nice way for me to just wade through a lot of my overthinking brain. So I've been writing since I was 6, 7, and just kept at it. Just loved it.
That's so cool. What do you mean that every story doesn't have to begin with once upon a time?
I think that must have been the the theme of all my story, like little stories I would write as a kid. But saying that out loud, it's like, wow, that's kind of a profound way. Like, it doesn't have to be a pretend fairy tale of what I'm putting down. Maybe this can be a real, this vision can be really put into action, or nothing's just gone. But yeah, I'll have to dig up my many notebooks, but I think I went through a phase where I was just writing a lot of fairy tales. And my mom was helping me emerge out of some of these themes to explore some other types of topics, I think.
Yeah, that's so interesting. Well, yeah, once upon a time about the future, I've always wanted to do that. I love it. What kind of writer was your mother? What did she like to write?
I found some of her old notebooks, and she did like fiction, but just short stories. But she never, I don't think she published them or like submitted them anywhere. But I always remember really respecting her and really loving her writing, and when I was a kid, and it did inspire me to keep going and work on my own stories at the time and poems, and then ultimately pursue journalism as a career. So it must have planted a pretty important seed.
Yeah. When was living your purpose a struggle?
Oh my gosh. Um, I would say I it took me a long time to feel like, right, this is my purpose. When I was in high school and going into university, I wanted to be like a writer or of some sort. I didn't know, more of a creative side. And my guidance teacher at the time was pretty old school. He's like, you should be a teacher. I was like, okay. I didn't have the confidence I was like, okay, I'll play the safe road. And so I went into elementary education as my degree. And I remember leaving that after 2 years. I actually did a practicum, and I was like, I have so much respect for teachers. This is not I don't have the patience level. And so I left the major and I went right into journalism. I just walked across campus and I was like, this is what I want to do. So I quit my major and then walked into the other building and said, I want to be a journalism major. And I could feel that like sense of like, yes, this is for me. And I was the editor of the yearbook and I did the newspaper there, and I just felt excited. And then when I left university, I did not do the internships I should have done. And I went and traveled. I was a bit burnt out. I ran track and had done a lot. And I was like, I want to do some exploration of my own. And so I used my journalism degree to work in a pub in Edinburgh in Scotland. And that's when I started to feel very lost. I had known that I was on the right path, and then I kind of left. And so there's years when I was traveling and I worked over in England, and then I moved to Chicago and I was a bartender and just felt very lost, wanting to be on that road to use my purpose. But then you get into like, oh, can I make enough money being a journalist? I don't have the clips for it. And it was very scary to step into that. And, am I going to be financially, can I say that I'm a writer, and is that a career, and things like that. So that was hard when people are asking, what are you doing? And that's what I wanted to do, but it was very hard to break into that kind of field. When I found Greenheart, which is Emmanuel and Laura, the cultural exchange organization, I faked the clips. I just wrote fake travel articles to get anxiety. Like, we need a I don't even know what the internship was at the time, but I was like, this is it. I need to get back to writing. And so I just wrote articles, and I told them, I was like, these aren't real, but I made them look like they were in a newspaper, and I got hired. And then it was kind of starting to get back on the track of, all right, this is the stories I get to tell now. And but it was really that financial, like the scarcity mode, that was a hard time, kind of trying to balance living my purpose and living in the world where I need to pay my bills.
Yeah, and having your entire environment, including, your mentors and teachers going like, oh yeah, I mean, my mom was like that too. And they were just like, yeah, well, you know, just go find a husband. You can't be an artist. You know what I mean? Like, don't even like try, So times are definitely changing. We
Absolutely.
interviewed an author, Sandy Sedgwick, and her mom was like, couldn't even handle that she was a writer. So she was like, "Oh, you're just like a typist, right?" And she's like,
Oh,
"No, I'm a writer."
oh no, I'm so fortunate. I've had, like, my family is amazing in, like, the support they give me. Um, I think I put a lot of pressure on myself. Like, I've got to, like, make it work financially, and I think I'm learning now, especially as a mom, like, you have to learn to ask for help. But back then I was like, I'll do it. I'll figure it out. But I'm lucky that my family has been incredibly supportive of what I've done. So I'm very
That's great.
fortunate.
So, they say that a majority of the world doesn't cross that campus and get in the right school, that the people just don't find their purpose, maybe even 95%. What's your theory on why that's the case?
Oh, that's a great question. I think there's a couple, like, for me, when I've thought about that, because that's like, whew, to not know your, like, have a sense of meaning, I think is a really, that can send you down a very slippery hill. One, I sometimes wonder if the idea of finding your purpose is very daunting. Of like, well, what if I get it? I should say, when I think about it, I'm like, what if I get it wrong? What if I pursued this and it was the wrong purpose? And I've started to kind of try to switch that mindset of purpose isn't a solid definition, and that's it. Or sometimes purpose isn't, like, gets mixed up with vocation. I was like, it's purpose is beyond that. And I think, it could be like a context of like, oh, well, that's just what my purpose is and what my heart is feeling I can't pay the bills with. And it's like, well, we can go deeper. And other times I do think there are some real initial struggles in the beginning if your purpose is more of a, I don't know if I'm going to say, I don't know if I agree with what I was just going to say. So I'm going to pause that out. Sorry. Um, but I do think that, and what I love about your podcast, it's awaken your purpose. So it's not something we're searching for and we went down the wrong road and we couldn't find it. I think we all have our purpose inside. And if we can come at it with awakening it versus the context of, I have to go find it and I'm not in the right school, I didn't have the right upbringing, I didn't have the right tools. I think when we kind of remove that, then it suddenly becomes, oh, it's been with me the whole time. So how can I start feeling into it? But it's a very big word. And I sometimes think maybe if we only think of it as, like I was saying earlier, like, I found the stone, then that can be difficult. So maybe that's why it's a challenge for a lot of people.
Yeah, I think you're right. And it's so interesting because it can feel daunting. And it also, you're mentioning like, oh, did I get it wrong and everything? And one of the weird things that we've noticed is that people are like, I can't believe I got here, but I did X, Y, Z, and all these other things, but all those other things ended up being necessary for the final thing. So you're right.
Absolutely.
Life is a way of giving us a winding road, but somehow if we keep that, on our hearts as something we want to find meaning, then it ends up finding us because it just does.
And it's so wonderful talking to like people like you, because you have such a joyful, like, let's do it. Where I need people like you in my life, like, let's go for it. Let's see the adventure. Because I'm very like, I don't know, is this a good use of our time? Like, I tend to be more cautious in certain things. So it's always like, and I don't, that's probably a childhood thing I need to explore, of like this idea of this be a good use of my time. Um, but like you said, the whole path was necessary. Even the stuff that was really shitty was like, well, that showed me what I don't want to do, and how I don't want to feel. And so that there's a good barometer that's set, that I think is, that you can't rush it. I think you have to go through
Yeah,
that.
it is so interesting, Jill, because you were commenting that your purpose was to have people slow down a little bit, notice the beautiful things in life, notice the things out the window, notice the things they might not stop for, and also, the people and their stories. But then you actually did. You took that time after school to go travel. So you've actually, if you're going to write about this, you better have lived it. And
It's
then it sounds like you have, which is like,
true.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
no,
that's beautiful, right?
that's true. Thank you. Thank you for that. That was not, working in a pub was not a waste of time. No, that was some of the best stories and life lessons I could have had doing
What
that.
advice would you have for people that haven't found what they really love yet?
Oh, I would say keep keep following your curiosity, and notice what continues to pull at your heart and your attention, because that's important, and that's going to tell you, have the clues to what you keep coming back to. And that is hard, because there's so many things, everybody will tell you what you should be doing, or what's the norm, or this is the way to do it, and it's so hard. I mean, I get caught in that trap of like, oh, that's not how you do a magazine, or that's not how you tell a story. But when you keep going back, I feel like, follow your curiosity, and that's gonna, and look for the delights, what makes your heart just like be like, oh, that was amazing. And I think those are all signposts to something bigger, that where you're being called to step into.
Yeah, I love that. And don't always take everyone else's advice. I like that advice
Don't
too.
listen to anything I'm saying.
And about the advice, don't take anybody's advice.
No, there's
Um,
incredible advice out there, and also listen to advice.
Jill, what do you think effect you've had on people around you by you living your purpose?
Oh gosh. Um, uh, I would say that I I think, because I want to share stories, I like to listen to stories. I like to listen to what people's life experience has been. I'm curious and interested in that, and I've had people thank me for that, for just letting someone say their story out loud, um, and to share a story or an experience that someone's had with a larger community, and kind of honor some of the what someone's gone through, I think has helped people as well. But I think paying attention and is whether I print a story or not is just the kind and respectful thing to do that we can do for each other, and just show up for each other in the world. So I hope that is what my purpose has positively affected people.
Yeah, I've experienced the same thing. We were talking about this last night as like when you're born, your purpose is to be, what did we say? It wasn't listened to, but to be seen and to be heard. Yeah, so it's like doing that act for someone of interviewing them like you do, and that is such a way to honor who they are and to broadcast their life too, which you do for so many people. It is a really essential part of being alive, is to know that each one of us was created to bring a song forward, to bring their life forward.
Absolutely. I mean, and every single person, every single person has an incredible stories. It's easy to be like, oh, I just go to my work. I'm like, oh, no, if you ask, like, if you think about or ask enough questions, or not in a not in like a probing way, but oh my gosh, even just walking down the street, there's some people I've met. I'm like, wow, I would not have guessed that. And I think that's so exciting when we start thinking about what can we possibly co-create. What are the solutions that we can come up with to fix X, Y, and Z, or to just have a really good time and, make something amazing. It's each of us have that in us. And if we can help each other find that, and then we're on the right track, I believe. And hopefully that's where, I hope I can use my purpose to help be a part of that.
Yeah. Jill, what would the world look like if the majority of people in the world were living their purpose?
Oh, it'd be such a good time. No, I feel like it would be, if everyone was living their purpose or feeling into it, I think it would be a very gentler, slower paced world, that was filled with art and connection, and who knows what new technology and solutions we'd have, because we were all living our best and highest self with, shared tools that help us elevate to that level. It would be a pretty wonderful world. A lot of joy.
I love that you're saying that. It's so ironic because as we move into this age of hyper AI, with AI doing a lot of our jobs, we do need a bunch more artists. And so it's interesting because part of the question is like, well, if whatever dream is in your heart you're supposed to live, then you're right. A lot of people want to be artists. Maybe we actually do need a lot of artists because this is the only thing that like AI is not as
Well,
good at. Right?
I I am I mean, I don't hide it. Um, I know technology is important and AI does really concern me, but because I am a writer, and so it's but I feel like the circles that I talk with and the articles I read, I do feel like we'll see a lot more print and things you can hold, and you know and third spaces, galleries, cafes where, people are sharing this, it's very primal to sing, to paint, to tell stories, to gather. And, maybe this is kind of guiding us back to those like spaces of community, as I panic for what's to come about my writing. But yeah, I can swing from excitement to concern pretty quickly. But yeah, more artists, more singers and painters and writers in the world. I'm all for that.
Thank you so much, Jill, for uplifting the Holomovement community as you do. And we love and appreciate you having you a part of the core team and part of the leadership. And you are just this. It's funny that you love collecting rocks because we always call you like you're like the rock that holds the whole ship together.
So,
So
thank you.
thanks for weaving our stories together in the
Oh,
most
thank you.
elegant way.
And thank you for all you do to bring out the stories as well. You are a storyteller as well and artist. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
We love and appreciate you. Thank you, everybody, for listening, and we'll see you next week. Thank you for joining us today. It is our goal to give you the courage to begin to identify your passion and live your purpose for the sake of yourself and for the sake of us all. Over the course of this multi-year collaboration and research project, we have identified patterns and a 7-stage process that many people go through on their way to living their purpose. If you'd like to browse our archive or figure out what stage you're in, head over to holomovement.net/purpose. If you would like to browse our living library of resources, or if you found your purpose and want to contribute what worked for you, head over to lightnet.org/purpose. And as Mark Twain used to say, the most important day of your life is the day you're born and the day you figure out why. You're not alone. We will look forward to helping you on this incredible journey. This has been a collaboration between Holomovement, LightNet, and incredible people like yourself. Special thanks to Good of the Whole. We'll see you next time.